Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. I hope wherever you are in this globe of ours that you're having an absolutely awesome and fantastic week, as the energy has shifted in the last week or so into the brand new astrological sign of Aries. And for those of you that aren't really sort of astrology savvy, it's actually the new year of astrology. The year doesn't officially start until approximately the 22nd of February for us guys, because it's our astrological new year. So I'm always very excited when the sun goes back into Aries and we start to sort of get this renewed energy all around us. And it's sort of like no matter where you are in the world, no matter what the weather is, all of a sudden you feel motivated and excited and want to get out there and venture into new projects. So it's really a very exciting time of the year. So let's kick the show off with the Simply Tarot card of the week. And this week we've got the Six of Cups. Now the Six of Cups is a card that is actually the happy home or childhood memories. Now, a lot of people sort of say to me, look, Amanda, I didn't particularly have a great childhood, so why would I want to go back and visit that? So it's not always just about childhood memories. It's a time in our lives when we felt happy, we felt at peace, we felt secure. It's our happy spot. It's a place that we can go back to and visit in our mind. So I think it's actually a beautiful card to have coming out this week, considering there's been so much turmoil in the world over the last 12 months or so, and so many shootings and people have lost their lives and weather events and everything else, and, you know, passing of some very famous people. And, you know, it's been a very sad time. I don't know where about your part of the world where you are, but here in Australia, we've had the passing of so many brilliant people in the media, entertainers, things like that in this last 6 to 8 weeks. It's sort of like, is there anyone left? And of course there is, but it's just sort of a sign of the times where all of a sudden we sort of feel as if we're a little bit threatened when so many people leave us around us, that we sort of want to go back to our happy spot, somewhere that makes us feel happy, makes us feel secure and brings a smile to our face. So, okay, so moving the show right along. This week we're really sort of ramping up a few things astrologically. We've got a lot of stuff going on astrologically, but I suppose the biggest event that I need to talk about first and foremost is Mercury, the planet of communication, has been retrograde now for about 3.5 weeks, 3 to 3.5 weeks, and he's just about to turn direct and go forward again, and hallelujah, the end of all our communication issues. If you've watched the show regularly, you know that we've had a few hiccups here where callers were there but they weren't there, things like that. Anybody that sort of knows anything about communication, and it governs all of us, has had a really torrid time this last 3 weeks with messages not getting through, things breaking down like your smartphone, your laptop, any device, sort of people not having their listening ears on. And it's been a particularly difficult one this time. Whether or not it's just more and more people are aware of Mercury retrogrades now, so the energy has sort of shifted that way and we all talk about it more, or whether or not Mercury really had a lot of influence this time, I'm going to hedge an each way bet and say a bit of both. But the fact that Mercury was in Pisces, I think also made it a little bit more dramatic this time, because the Pisces energy is what's affectionately known as the dustbin of the zodiac, or sort of where we sort of get to the point where we've got to throw things out, where we release things, we let go of things that we've stored for way too long. It can be incredibly creative too. So I think there was a lot of people that were off in the little creative energy of the Piscean energy, and sort of out there mystically sort of trying to sort their life out and daydreaming and not really sort of paying attention to anything that was being said, because they were having their own little video show over there, looking at their life and working out where they wanted to go next. And they really didn't want to come back to the here and now and deal with day-to-day issues. But also by the same token, I think there was a number of emotional issues and things from the past that were brought up that everybody sort of didn't realise that they hadn't let go of. And it's like, well, why am I having this sort of video show of past events and things that I thought that I dealt with, and really sort of making me confront it? And some people got very anxious with this. I had lots of inboxes and lots of phone calls about it, and people sort of saying to me, look, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why am I thinking of something that happened 25 years ago? I thought that was well and truly over. Other people had strange dreams. Other people had strange phone calls from people from the past and through their social media, and people that they had to really scratch their head and think, do I know that person? Did I really go to school with them? So all those sort of energies and peculiar things that have been happening to each and every one of us will now hopefully come to a close on April 4 or the 4th of April, depending on where you are in the world. So that's a nice sort of sigh of relief that we can have. We can sort of exhale and say, wow, we've been there, we've done that, and that's great. So then that takes us to April 5 or the 5th of April, which is when the new moon actually moves into Aries. And I'm really excited about this because it's our first brand new moon for the astrology year. And it's the first one is in Aries, and it's amazing because the Aries energy is about me first, is about fiery, outspoken, enthusiasm, getting up off the couch, being very motivated, really wanting to take the world by storm, sort of in a hurry, not really probably, I suppose, stopping and listening to too many conversations because I'm on a mission. I've got so many things I need to achieve and I'm running out of time, but it's very much a high energy, high octane time. So it's nice to sort of see a new moon in that sort of energy, because the new moon to me is the time when we can bring towards us new opportunities. We can start to bring new things into our lives. So for those of you that have watched the show before, you'll know that I always feature a candle of the week. And this week, because we're working with the new moon in Aries, I'm going to focus and work with the new moon candle first off. So what we would do is we would write a little list. Now, I like to work in minimum of 3. You can put as many things as you like on the list. There may be 3 new things you're trying to bring into your life, or 3 things that you've been working on that you really want to put a bit of energy boost behind. Now, they're the sort of things that you put on your list. So it might be, I'm really, really looking for a new job. So you put down you want a new job, put down the salary, put down how far from home, put down any key points to do with that. If you want to, and this is optional, you could write 3 things that you're happily releasing, or 3 things that have come to a completion that you're happy to release on the new moon because they no longer serve you anymore. I like to do that because I like to sort of keep things in balance. If I'm attracting 3 new things, I like to let go with 3 old things too, so that I sort of feel that my life is in balance. And I'm not a Libra. I've just always worked on the score that I like to think can keep things in balance as much as possible. So we write out the list, we pop it under the candle. I suggest you write 3 lists, because you're going to need 1 for your new moon candle, 1 for your fire sign candle, and 1 for you to be able to read out aloud. Makes it a little bit easier than picking the candle up and putting it down and sort of trying to deal with a candle that's a light, or you're lighting and you're reading the list and then you're putting the list underneath it. So you go to light your candle, you're reading the list out aloud to the universe with conviction. Really say it so that you mean it. So the universe knows this is not just something we're doing or we're reciting. We really truly believe in what we're asking for and setting our intent, purpose and direction for the next month minimum. So we light the candle, we pop the list underneath, we put the list underneath the candle, we put the candle on a coaster. Never put a candle directly on furniture because the glass container does get hot, the soy wax doesn't. So that you want to burn your candle for a minimum of 15 minutes to 2 hours per day on a 7-day cycle. So I look at 2 days before the new moon, 3 days of the new moon, and then 2 days on the decline. So each one of these candles has in them, extra large, has a dual wick in them. So I like to light one side one day and the other side the next day. That just gives you a longer burn time. And I feel then it makes that your candle is a lot more economical to burn than it is by just burning one wick. So because we're in the sign of Aries, we would also burn our fire sign candle. This is actually my favourite candle, I think, out of the whole 28, probably because I'm a fire sign and I really sort of resonate with the smell and the energy of this candle. But this fire sign candle works for Aries, Leo and Sagittarius. But because we are in the Aries new moon, we're going to bring in the Arian energy, which is the me first, the high octane energy, sort of kicking new things off. So again, same principles apply with your fire sign candle. So you're going to work with it in exactly the same way. For those of you that want a smaller candle, we have our gift box set where this week I've made up with 2 fire signs and a new moon. These will burn for about 15 minutes each. These are something that you can use as travel candles. You can take them into the office if you've only got a small area. Absolutely fabulous for those reasons. And they also make a great gift. They do come in this lovely little gift box set, so it really does make a nice gift. You can choose any one of our 28 candles. You don't have to make your pack up with what I've featured on the show. That's entirely your choice. Now, for those of you that don't want to work with flames, Can I suggest a melt warmer to you? These melt warmers are, you can pick them up in your department store, your local supermarket. Here in Australia, around about $15. They're electric, so you just take 2 teaspoons of your soy wax at the beginning of the week, so 1 teaspoon out of each candle. And again, the same 7-day principle applies. Again, the same thing, write your list, read it out aloud as you pop it underneath your melt warmer, and have your separate list so you can read it each day, adding an extra half a teaspoon a day. Now, when you need to replace your wax because you're going to be working with a different energy next week, can I suggest pop it into the freezer for about 5 minutes, and then you can just put your finger underneath it or a spoon or something like that, and the whole tray of wax will lift out easily, and then you can wash it and you're ready to start again. So it's a really exciting time, as I said, with the new moon in Aries. Please don't waste it. It's something that I think that we should all get behind and start our astrological new year off really, really well. Now, each week we feature a different actor or actress as we've been following the zodiac around now for a while. And this week we're up to the female in Sagittarius. And I'm really excited to talk about Susan Day. Now, most of you sort of say, who, what? But if I say to you, Laurie from the Partridge Family, you'll say, oh, yes, I know her. And yes, she was in LA Law too. So Susan Day is a Sagittarian, and she didn't start her career out to be wanting to become an actress. She actually started out as being a model. And she was sort of going great guns with her modelling career. She'd done a few television commercials, and just by chance, her sort of agent suggested to her that she try out for this sitcom called The Partridge Family that was coming up with this musical family, and she sort of wasn't really convinced that was where she wanted to go, but she went anyway just for the practice, and she landed the role. And it was interesting because Susan did make the role very much her own. And if you can cast your mind back to the early 70s, when young women really didn't have a voice and young women's opinions weren't really sort of valued in any way, Susan Day playing Laurie Partridge actually set a different genre, a different energy for the young women of the day. She was sort of the one that always had a conscience. She was fighting for causes. She was standing up for the environment, women's movements, women's rights and things like that. And she sort of became very much a household name where a lot of young women looked up to her as a role model and still do today. But she sort of pioneered that, you know, whether consciously or unconsciously in the show, but she became a very integral part of that, of her standing up for young women's rights and movements. She went on to star in many movies and many guest roles in many different television shows, but I think her biggest success after leaving the Partridge Family would have had to have been LA Law. She was awarded many industry awards for her role in that show. She played a dynamic role in that, and then again sort of standing up for women's rights and sort of showing people that, you know, women are intelligent, they do have something to contribute to the world, and she just didn't back down on anything that she believed to be right. I mean, in real life, she's, you know, been in retirement now for a long time. She only had one daughter, and she stays well and truly out of the limelight. And that's her choice, and we need to respect that. But, you know, I think Susan Day will always be remembered by a lot of people around the world, particularly young women who are now much older, that she gave them a voice. And I think that's really important. So we take our hat off to you, Susan Day. So we're about to take our first caller, and it's Felicity in Springfield, Tennessee. Are you there, Felicity?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
How can I help you? Do you have a question for me, Felicity?
Yes, I do. I'm facing some pretty pertinent issues right now in Tennessee. I came here haphazardly, and I found myself speaking publicly about the healthcare in Tennessee. And I'm wondering if I still have more work that I need to do in this area.
First and foremost, can I say congratulations for taking the stand that you did. I don't know that you were necessarily welcomed with open arms in Tennessee for the issues that you brought to the public's attention. But by the same token, I think it's been very valuable work that you've done. I'm not feeling that your time is completely finished there yet. I'm sort of being shown around August. I'm not sure whether that's when you're going to leave or when that's you sort of make the final decision on, okay, this is my departure date. I've done as much as I can achieve here. I'm on to the next sort of adventure. But I feel that Tennessee will be somewhere that you keep coming back to. I'm not saying necessarily going to reside there, but it will be something that will be on your radar, I think, for at least the next 5 years as sort of follow-up work or follow-up information to come there. Is your work taking you into another direction now? Is that what you sort of feel? You've been sort of formulating a new direction or a new project with your work?
Well, what happened is I kind of semi-retired from the social work field, and I remember saying to myself, why can't I be an activist? And instead of listening to people's problems. And so I came out here on a whim to take care of some personal business. And all of a sudden I became appalled at some of the things that were happening here for people. And I felt very inclined to speak on behalf of people that probably couldn't speak, or use the system in a way that could be beneficial to them because they didn't know about the system, which I spent my whole career and my whole life pretty much studying for and anticipating and working with the people throughout my life. And so I came here, and I find myself, like when I think one project is done, another one pops up, and something happened to me that wasn't very pleasant, and somehow it ended up now it's going to be a court case. And there happens to be disadvantaged people that are going to be represented. And I was like, well, how if I end up here? And why is this going on? This makes no sense to me. And I've been trying to make sense out of all of it because I thought I was really going to be leaving, the field permanently to do something else. So I'm a little shocked, and I'm still kind of, reeling from that, and trying to make the best decisions possible for myself and for my future. So.
Well, I suppose at this point you really can't do anything until you get the court case out of the road. But look, sometimes things are just designed by fate, Felicity, and sometimes we don't have control over them. We think we're going to do one situation which somehow or another explodes into other situations, which is what's happened here with you. I don't think your days in social work and helping people is over yet by a long shot. I mean, you might feel it is, but I feel that you're just going to be sort of pulled into other situations, nowhere near like what you're facing now with the court case thing.
Hello?
And by legal situations, we're not allowed to cover legal sort of things. But what I can say to you is that I feel that you're in a better position than what you think you are. So to me, I'm going to take that as a sort of a positive. I think just keep an open mind. You'll be guided at what's the next thing, when you're supposed to be leaving, what you're supposed to be doing next. I certainly don't think it's going to be as intense as this has been, but I do think that there's still more work to be done in this field for you. So I'd like to take the opportunity to wish you well and thank you for your call. We're going to go to Jessica in White River Junction in Vermont. Are you there, Jessica?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sweetie. Do you have a question for me, darling?
I just want to know about Lainey.
About who, sweetie?
She was murdered.
She was your third child? Oh, your niece. Okay.
Mm,
So is she still with us, sweetie?
no, she was like a mother to me. I was like a daughter to her.
Right. But she's no longer with us here on Earth. Is that what you're trying to share with me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, look, no guarantees I'm going to be able to tune into her with the couple of minutes that we have to take the call. But what I can share with you is that there's some major turning points or some major changes coming up in your life over the next few months. Have you already been this year actively sort of trying to put your life into some sort of order again? Because I sort of felt it went spiralling out of control in the previous 18 months to the beginning of this year. So have you been actively trying to sort of claw your way back into some sort of normality?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's good. So I feel that you need to sort of just continue on this path. I do think things are going to get easier. I mean, as far as the lady that you called that was like an aunt to you, I believe she's with you every single day. I think she's keeping a watchful eye over you. I also sort of feel that she sort of feels that you're becoming so much stronger in yourself, and she's really proud of that. But she doesn't necessarily feel the need to come through with a specific message. She's just sort of showing me that she's got a smile on her face. She's happy with where your life's heading, and that's a good thing. That, you know, just do more of the same. She's there with you every step of the way. But I sort of feel as if you still have a couple of question marks surrounding her final days, and she's sort of showing me to just dismiss those. So whatever that means, that's something for you to work out after the show. But that's what she's showing me. She was showing me 2 question marks. I felt it was around her final 3 months here on Earth, and she's just sort of saying to me, it's like she's got a bowling ball and she's bowled them out of the road. She's knocked them out of the road. She doesn't want to deal with them and doesn't want you to deal with them. Whatever that relates to, she's asking you to release that and let it go. So I think that's really important, that you honour her wishes in that way. Look, she's very proud of you. Would it be fair to also sort of say to you, Jessica, that in this last 12 months, you've found your own voice again, like you're standing up for yourself a lot more with things that have been going on in your life? Is that what's been happening around you?
Yes, definitely.
Good. Well, keep on that path, because I feel we're finally getting you to where you need to be going. But I also want to say to you, every now and then I want you to stop and give yourself a pat on the back and say, that's a job well done, Jessica. And even if you buy yourself a little treat, whether it be a nice little top or a jumper or a bottle of nail polish or something, and give that to yourself as a reward for staying strong and continuing to stand up for what you believe in, because that's also important too, that I think that you acknowledge that you're doing well and you're doing better than you've ever done in your whole entire life. You know, you're really starting to come into your own power, and that's amazing. I don't feel uncomfortable with anything I'm seeing around you. I feel that everything is starting to move forward now. So I think you just need to keep going on the path that you're on.
Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. So for those of you that might want to book a private reading with me, that you want to have it aired around the world, you can go to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. When you're at the checkout, don't forget to type in the word radio in capital letters and you will receive a discount on your reading. I'm happy to sort of phone you or Skype you anywhere in the world, and I do also offer an email service. But while you're at my website, why don't you sign up for our free newsletter, and that will give you a free complimentary astrology chart emailed to you anywhere in the world. So on next week's show, we'll have our Simply Tarot card of the week. We will have a little trip around the universe and see what's happening. We'll also feature our Capricorn male in our actors series, so that should be exciting. And we'll also see what things are going on in the universe. I mean, you know, astrologically, it just seems to be we come through more monumental times than we did last week. So it's a very exciting time to be alive. So whatever you're doing in this next 7 days, make sure that you're true to yourself, that you try and be kind and open a car door or do some small little gesture to somebody else, because it's really, really important, I think, that we show kindness to people. And I'd like to just sort of mention something in passing before we close the show. For those of you that are royal watchers and, you know, watch the Harry and Meghan sort of extravaganza around the world when they came here late last year in Australia and had a trip here, there was one particular lady, that Daphne, who really captured the prince's heart. It was the 3rd time that he'd spotted her in the crowd, and he had a very special relationship with her and took the opportunity to introduce Meghan to Daphne and in the crowd and sort of wish them well. Well, dear Daphne lost her life yesterday. She was 99 years of age and she died peacefully in hospital from pneumonia. And it really is a magical story that a lady that was sitting in a crowd watching the royals could make such an impact on a young man and his wife. And it's nice to see that they're remembering her today. So there's plenty of people around the world that don't get the opportunity, that don't get in the limelight, that we sort of take for granted until they're gone. So please make sure that you do something kind for everybody every single day, because you never know how long they're going to be with us. And, you know, we take the opportunity to say I love you or how proud I am of you, because that's really important. You never know if you'll ever get that opportunity again. So until next week, have a great week wherever you are, and enjoy this Aries time of the year where everything's fresh and new and exciting and we're all on high octane energy. Until next week, have a great week. Bye for now.